ERC, quality service since 1972. Repairing TVs, console stereos, electronic musical instruments, pinball machines, arcade games, and more. Call 836-0454.
This is your Weather Xtreme video for Friday, August the 7th. TGIF. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters coming to you from Chicago, where the weather's been great, but a lot cooler than central Alabama. Let's get right to our Skycam images, and there's Tuscaloosa this morning. A little bit kind of bright sunshine in the eastern sky, but also a little hazy, and kind of a pretty good view from Mount Cheaha there as we look at some clear skies across central Alabama. At the surface map, not a great deal for us to deal with down here, as it's primarily featured by the high pressure over the eastern half of the country. It looks like that's going to be with us for a couple of days, although a weak disturbance would be moving around the ridge. You can see that little disturbance in the Gulf as we look at the water vapor imagery overlaid with the 500 millibar pattern. And definitely the ridge is becoming the dominant feature. We've been talking about the ridge for quite some time. The the temperatures across the area and across the U.S. are quite warm. You can see that with the ridge building, that the heat is getting all the way up to the Canadian border. And a little closer to home, we're generally running from about 67 or so at Anniston to about 73 at Birmingham. So pretty typical for this time of year. And radar, unfortunately, is rather calm and quiet, with not much to talk about on radar. And it looks like the radar is going to stay that way, although for the next 5 days it looks like, especially by Sunday with moisture increasing, it looks like we could see the possibility of some scattered showers, isolated to scattered actually. Storm Prediction Center outlooking a very large area that extends from very close to Chicago across the north central United States, including all of, or just about all of, North and South Dakota, and a good portion of Iowa, as well as the surrounding areas. And in the tropics, things remain very quiet as we're approaching that part of the year that is typically the peak in hurricane season with the most storms. All right, let's get to the 06Z GFS model run. Here's the 500 millibar pattern for this afternoon at 1 o'clock. You can see the ridge building in, and our trough is finally exiting the area, which it's been very, very nice. And that should keep us pretty much dry today, with highs getting into the lower and mid-90s across the area. The ridge becomes a much more dominant feature by Saturday, as well as that little low we pointed out in the Gulf is kind of rotates around the ridge, and that was responsible for the little bullseye of QPF. And so that will keep us once again dry, I think, as the moisture is still somewhat limited on Saturday. By Sunday, that little disturbance in the upper atmosphere becomes a little more diffuse, and also the moisture increases, and so therefore I think we'll need to introduce at least isolated shower possibilities for Sunday. And then on Monday, it looks like maybe we'll get into a little more coverage and become a little more scattered as we get into a summertime daily pattern. The ridge does begin to break down for us as a fairly strong short wave moves across the Great Lakes area. And once again, that should keep us with some pretty good moisture in the area, should keep us in a isolated to scattered pattern. Wednesday, that little trough is not quite as evident, and therefore it ends up with a little more of a ridginess to our pattern, and the 594 kind of builds back in on Thursday, and then by Friday it looks like the ridge has once again taken hold very well, but with a moist atmosphere under it, that still means the possibility for some isolated to scattered showers, and that's a week from today, so as we get into mid-August. Now looking out into Voodoo, the GFS is pretty consistent in keeping the ridge over the central and eastern part of the country, with the main westerlies and the main trough motion across the northern tier of the United States, and you can see that trough there in the Great Lakes. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Weather Xtreme video. I expect to have the next one posted by about 8 o'clock or so by Saturday morning. In the meantime, hope that you have a great Friday, and Godspeed.
Weather.